When people think of global power, they picture giants, the United States, China, India, but what if much of the world's trade, finance and technology depended not on those giants, but on countries smaller than some of their cities? From Singapore to Luxembourg, from Qatar to Iceland, small nations quietly shape the global economy every single day. They don't command armies, they command efficiency, innovation, and trust. This is the story of how the world's smallest nations learn to survive and thrive in a world built for giants. Small nations start with a disadvantage: no resources, tiny markets, limited manpower. Yet that very limitation forces creativity. When you can't rely on size, you rely on strategy. You build faster, specialize deeper, and stay flexible. Singapore built a trade empire from a single port. Luxembourg became Europe's financial nerve center. Qatar used its natural gas wealth to become a global investor. Iceland turned isolation into energy independence. The lesson? Being small isn't weakness, it's clarity. Small nations can't afford inefficiency. Every mistake costs more, so they build systems that simply have to function. In Singapore, policies are data-driven and long-term. In Denmark and Finland, digital governance removes paperwork entirely. Estonia offers e-residency, letting foreigners start a business there without ever visiting. These governments operate like startups: lean, transparent, and customer-focused. They don't wait for reform, they iterate. That agility turns limited scale into strength. Each small nation found a niche. Instead of doing everything, they decided to do one thing exceptionally well. Switzerland mastered precision: watches, banking, pharmaceuticals. Luxembourg specialized in finance and satellite communications. Iceland dominates renewable, geothermal energy. Singapore became the logistics hub of Asia. New Zealand turned clean agriculture and tourism into global brands. In global trade, specialization means influence. When the world needs your niche, you never stay small for long. Another hidden strength is, well, neutrality. Small nations often stay out of conflict, becoming safe ground for diplomacy and business. Switzerland, for example, hosts international organizations because everyone trusts it. Qatar mediates negotiations in the Middle East. Iceland and Norway often host peace talks. Neutrality isn't weakness, it's actually service. When big powers can't agree, small powers provide the table. Trade really runs on trust, and small countries, by necessity, have built reputations for reliability. They enforce contracts quickly, they maintain stable laws and keep corruption low. They welcome foreign investors without all the political drama. That kind of predictability makes them magnets for global capital. It's why trillions of dollars flow through Luxembourg, Singapore, and Switzerland, not because they're large, but because they're dependable. With smaller populations, governments can actually listen directly to citizens. Policies can be tested, refined, and scaled quickly. In Finland, teachers design parts of the national curriculum. In Iceland, citizens help draft the constitution online. In Bhutan, success is measured not just in GDP, but in gross national happiness. Smaller scale means tighter feedback loops, and that keeps societies cohesive and forward-looking. You know, many small nations have actually turned geography into leverage. Panama, for example, controls the canal that links two oceans. Singapore sits on one of the busiest sea lanes on Earth. Qatar and the UAE, well, they turned desert into global aviation hubs. They turned location from limitation into opportunity. And every plane that lands, every ship that docks, adds another layer to their economic resilience. Because their home markets are tiny, small nations invest outward, quietly owning pieces of the global economy. Norway's sovereign wealth fund, built from oil profits, owns about 1.5% of every publicly traded company on Earth. Singapore's Temasek Holdings invests in tech and green industries worldwide. Qatar's investment authority owns stakes in banks, airports, even luxury brands. Their philosophy is simple: don't just survive globalization, own a part of it. When you can't dig wealth from the ground, you build it in the mind. Singapore, Finland, and Switzerland rank among the world's top education systems. They train people not just to work, but to think, create, and lead. Small nations treat every citizen as a national resource. That mindset turns classrooms into factories of innovation. Being small isn't without risks. External shocks hit harder. Global recessions or climate change can strain limited space and supply. That's why collaboration matters. Small countries survive by joining regional blocs, the European Union, ASEAN, Nordic Council, and others. Collective voice amplifies individual strength. 10 small nations together can influence decisions that one alone never could. The rise of small nations teaches 3 truths. First, governance matters more than geography. Good policy can outlast bad luck. Second, innovation isn't about scale, it's about speed and focus. Third, trust is power. When the world believes in your stability, opportunity flows your way. Big nations build strength through size. Small ones build it through skill. In a century dominated by megacities and superpowers, it's easy to overlook the little dots on the map. But those dots keep the world running. They manage trade routes, secure global finance, and pioneer digital futures. Their message to the rest of us is simple. You don't have to be big to matter, you just have to be reliable, resourceful, and ready for change. The hidden strength of small nations is not in what they have, but in what they choose to build. And in a world of giants, sometimes the smallest voices carry the most wisdom.